The auto round tool saves you a lot of time and effort when you are preparing a model for manufacturing. And as the name implies, it helps you automatically apply rounds or fillets in your part. To access the auto round command, go to the drop-down list for round and choose auto round. And on the dashboard, you have the ability to control whether you are going to apply your rounds to convex and concave edges. You can also access that from the Scope tab. And right now I am going to choose to do both. You can change the radius value that you want to use. Let's use a value of 1. And now it's currently using the same value for both the convex and concave edges. But if you desire, you could use different values for both. And one thing I strongly recommend that you do is consider the manufacturing method that you are going to use. So for example, if I was going to manufacture this by using molding or casting, then it would be appropriate for me to use both convex and concave edges. So let's hit the check mark and take a look at how this processes. And in the upper right hand corner, you can see that there is an auto round player. You can see how fast it is evaluating the model. Now that it is complete, let me deselect everything, and I'm going to open up my model tree, and you can see all the edges that were rounded, and there is a single feature in the model tree. And now I'm going to unhide the sketch feature, and let's use it for creating an extrude in the model. And let's change this. I'm not going to have it that high. Let's change it to a value of 5 and hit the check mark. And right now this extrude appears after the auto round feature, but if I grab it and drag it before the auto round will automatically recalculate to figure out how it should affect the additional edges created by the feature. All right, the auto round finished calculating, and we can see the additional fillets in the model. And right now this appears as one single feature. If you right click on it, you have the ability to convert this to a group of rounds, and we get the dialog box, the option to make the round feature dimensions dependent on each other. And let's click OK. Again, it is reprocessing, and this takes a few seconds, but for a reasonably proficient Creo Parametric user, it might take them about 20 minutes to figure out all the different edges and different groups of rounds that they're going to make in the different sets and so on. So this actually ends up being a good time saver. And now if I expand the local group, it ended up making 10 separate round features. And you can select them one by one to see how it ended up defining the different sets. And if you have this local group and you no longer want it in your model, from the mini toolbar you can use the ungroup command, and now they're just individual features listed in here, although they do have the dependency between each other. I'm going to delete all these rounds to show you some of the other different options from the auto round dashboard, and let's choose auto round. So earlier I mentioned that you want to take into consideration the manufacturing method. And so, for example, sometimes people just put way too many fillets in their model. And if you're going to make this by machining like CNC instead of doing a mold or casting, you probably do not want the convex edges in there because it'll actually be more work to machine the model that way. You're going to have to do some additional operations with a different cutting tool for that. So again, I'm just going to do concave edges. And if you go to the exclude tab, if there are certain edges that you didn't want to have fillets applied, you just pick them in the model. You can use the control key for selecting multiple ones. From the Options tab, you have the ability to create this as a group of features to begin with, rather than creating them as a single auto round feature and then using the Convert to Group command from the right mouse button menu. And here's that other option for making the features dimensions dependent on one another. And Properties tab, as always, this is where you could rename the feature. Let's hit the check mark and let that process. Again, you see that was fairly quick, and we can expand the group. And this time I only have 6 round features. So I hope you enjoyed this video. For more information, please visit www.creowindchill.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button to be informed when new videos are uploaded. Thank you very much.